All right, guys, our next project is this fun fold. This was kind of like my extra project for you because it's just pretty. So I really like this one. It's actually not that complicated, but there are some tips and tricks to this that I'm going to share with you. So first of all, I have a diagram, and I will, of course, share it with you because it's really hard to write this out in words, to be honest. And my assistant is here giggling. So anyway, what we're going to start by doing is scoring at 6.5 inches. Okay. So we'll do that. And there's probably a name for this. I honestly just don't know what it is. This fancy fold situation we have going on here. I don't know. So I'm going to score at 6.5 inches. Note to self, don't cut. Okay, so scoring at 6.5. Then what I'm going to do is on this 6.5 inch panel, at the bottom, I'm going to score 1 inch up, and then from the edge, 1 inch in, and on both sides. So 1 inch up, and then from the edge, 1 inch in. And then I'll also do it at 2 inches up and 1 inch in. Okay. So again, that's on the side that's 6.5 inches. So the longer side, I'm going to score this creases so you can see the line a little better. Okay, so now how do you do that? So what I'm going to do is put my paper on the 1 inch line on this side right here. Then I'm going to move my little blade. So this is a 4.25 inch piece. So I'm going to move my blade to 3.25 inches. And then I'm going to score, I'm going to score from 3.25 out to the edge. Okay. And that's kind of hard to do because my phone is, of course, right in the way, but here we go. Sorry if my hair gets in the camera. So score there, and then I'm going to go from the 1 inch mark to the edge, and you can see the little line on your blade will tell you exactly where the scoring is happening. So there's those two. Then I'm going to flip this around because I need to do the same thing at 2 inches. It's just easy to do it on that side. So I'll do 2 inches, and again, I'll score from the edge to the 1 inch line right here. So boom. And then I'll bring it down to the 3.25 and then go to the edge there as well. Like that. Okay, now I'm going to do one more score line, and then I'm going to cut in a couple of places. So the next score line is going to be, actually I'm going to do the cutting lines and then I'll score. It'll all make sense when you see it. Okay, my next line needs to be down 1 inch. Well, there's no good way to do that. Oh yeah, there is. Okay, so here's my 6.5 inch line. So I'm going to make it to the 5.5 inch line. And this time I'm actually going to cut. So I want to bring my cutting blade in. So I'm going to cut, or no, I'm sorry. I'm doing this wrong. I'm going to cut from the score line. So 6.5 inches. I'm going to cut all the way down from 6.5 inches all the way down to the 1 inch mark down here. Okay, so we'll cut all the way to the 1 inch mark. And then I'm going to lift this up, and then I'm going to bring it over and do the same thing over here. So I'm going to put this on the 1 inch mark on this side, close this back up, put my blade at the 6.5 inch line right there. It might not quite look like it's lined up, but it is. It's just the angles of the camera and everything. Then I'll go down to the 1 inch line over here. Okay, so I've cut from that first score line all the way up to the top score line. Now the other thing that I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go down 1 inch from my score line. So to do that, I'm going to put this score line on the 1 inch mark, and then I'm basically going to just score from the cut. So just the inside the cut portion. And I'm going to remove my cutting blade from the picture. I might have had to do this a couple times on my original card because I cut things I wasn't supposed to cut. Okay, so let's review that one more time. just so you're all clear on how this all happened. So first things first, we scored at 6.5 inches, and there's that line. Then what we did is we went 1 inch in and 1 inch up and scored here. Then we went 1 inch in and 1 inch up from there, so 2 inches total, and scored there. Okay, so that's 2 score lines. Then we cut 1 inch in from our first score line and connected it to this 1 inch score line. And same thing on the other side. And then we went from the score line up here, the original 6.5 inch score line, we went down and connected those 2 cut lines we did not score right up here. Okay, so we connected that with a score. So now, oh my gosh, what do we do with all this? So what's great is this will just kind of pop into a card. And even when I was looking at it, I'm like, this is not going to work, but it does. So what we want to do is fold on that original score line, and we're going to give it a good crease. Okay. And if you don't have any extra vanilla cardstock at home, take a half a sheet, cut the long way. So this is just a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece, and practice to make sure you get it right before you do it on your actual one, just in case you mess up, you know. All right, then what I want to do is I want to pop this up right here and give it a crease. And then I'm going to push this bottom one back, and then as a result, that one goes up. So push this one back, and that goes up. And then voila, you have this fancy fold. It's just so fancy. Okay, so of course, what we're going to do is decorate this all up. By the way, this probably has a name, and I have no idea what it is. I think I've told you guys before, I am not a fun fold kind of person, but this one was pretty cool, and I thought you'd like it. All right, so I'm going to stamp my Merry Christmas at the bottom of this little spot right here in some soft suede ink. And then remember way back when I told you would need 2 of those poinsettias to be cut out. So this is where we're going to use the other one. We also need 3 pieces of DSP, and they're really easy. We need 1 piece that's going to fit in our center section, and that piece is going to be 2 1/8 by 4 3/8 inches. And then we need 2 pieces of 7/8 by 4 3/8 inches. Okay, we'll adhere all of these pieces together, and then we'll just be amazed at our awesomeness, because we are awesome for making this card. Okay, so there's that, and you can see there's just a little border, and then we'll adhere this piece. So obviously this is the same piece. Just one of them is on one side and the other's on the other. You're welcome for that very descriptive explanation of what's happening here. I do love this print, though. It's just so pretty. Okay, so now when you fold our card, it's pretty. Look at that. So obviously we need to put something here. So here is that second poinsettia that I cut out, and we're going to decorate this a lot like that boxed set of cards. So I will do, I will add my ribbon. Now this time I'm going to adhere it just a little differently. So rather than do a zigzag of ribbon, and you certainly could do that, but I'm just giving you an alternative here. I'm going to cut, sorry, I gotta reach my scissors. I'm going to cut a chunk of this off. Okay, and I'm going to tie with my thin gold from that same Forever Greenery combo pack. I'm going to tie a little bow on here, and you can tie a knot too. It doesn't have to be a bow. Okay, so to do that, I'm just holding with my pinky, I'm holding the ribbon down, and then I'm going to tie it nice and close to the edge so it will stay on my card. You can also, in position, you'll also kind of hold it in place with your adhesive for the poinsettia, so don't worry if it's too loose. We'll get it on there where it won't move around. Okay, so I just tied a little bow right here, and we'll shrink that down. That looks good. Trim the end like so. Okay, and then I want this kind of up here, like I said. We'll sandwich it in with a couple of glue dots above and below. And then that is our, there we go. That is our beautifully decorated card. Of course, we're going to add some of our gems or our glitter enamel dots to the center. I just need some dimensionals. You know, I get a little anxious if I don't have dimensionals on my cards. Okay. So that just sits on top of the ribbon, like so. And then we'll add our pretty little gems. So again, I'll use my littlest ones, and I'm just going to place them wherever there is a yellow dot. I will put a gem. You could do like a bigger one and a couple smaller ones, or you can do just a whole bunch of these little ones, but there you go. What I love about these gems is they don't take up much thickness. So that is our fun card. I don't know, it must be like a stair step or a something step card, a center step, I don't know. But there you go.